On the aisle, yes, right here.
Good afternoon.
It is.
Woke up this morning at 4:44 and had my two questions that you answered with the first person, but I still have one question that I'd like further clarification on. I read a book recently on energetic healing, and that basically it uses life force and quantum physics and your inner being for focus, for healing purposes. And I'm on some tray hooked up to a computer in Southern California, and just wanted to have your thoughts on that.
Well, all healing is energetic. In other words, all healing is about finding a way, any way, to allow the energy that the cells are asking for to be fully received. And so a physician the other day was talking about, is healing really about the dog and pony show that the physician engages in? And we said, anything that you can do that causes you to now allow the cells to receive the energy that they're asking for causes an achievement of healing. And it does not really matter what the details of the process are. It's always the same. It goes like this. Cells of your body know what they want, having their experience, keep concluding what they now want or need, ask for it, non-physical answers it, and the only question is, are you letting it in?
That's how I felt.
Yes.
Very good. That's all. Thank you.
Right here, yes. You are the one. It's been a very tidy unfolding here today, have you noticed? Yes.
Good afternoon. It feels very good to be here.
Yes.
And I have been working very much on focusing on raising my vibrational frequency, and just learning a lot about it.
Do you think it's your job to raise it, or do you think it will raise naturally?
Right.
Because one answer makes it hard, the other answer makes it easy. In other words, do you accept that it is natural for you to be in this high, pure, fast vibration?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And so when you say you're working on raising it, you mean you're working on releasing resistance?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And one of the resistance, I have a marriage of 27 years and separated about 2 years ago from my husband, and live very close to him. And I am the center of his universe, and I am moving forward with my life and what I need to do for myself. And he, I think, is preparing to exit. I mean, he has said that he will be, if I'm not there for him, he will be having a need to commit suicide. So, this is
it's big, isn't it?
It is very, very big.
Because what he is saying to you in very blunt and blatant terms is something that a lot of people say to each other. He's saying, my happiness depends on your behavior. Mm-hmm. And it's a very big load to give to someone, a load that no one can manage, in other words, because his happiness does not depend upon your behavior. His happiness depends upon... Was he happy when you were with him?
There were times. I mean, he has a very beautiful spirit, very creative genius, a lot of very, very positive aspects,
yes.
But then a lot of negative.
Yes.
And I don't think he has the true desire, to change it, whereas I've had a huge desire, huge desire to be joyous, because I know that is my birthright, and I want that.
Here's the most important question that we could ask you. And as you ponder the answer over the next few days, a great amount of clarity will come to you. In other words, this is the way for you to resolve all of this. When you see him in your mind's eye, not when you're visiting with him, not when you're talking to him, or not when he's in front of you, but when you think about him and you recognize that you are not fully in his life, even though he wants you to be the center of his universe, you know that you are not, as far as you are concerned. when you see him in your mind's eye, do you see him suffering and struggling and lonely? Or do you see him getting over it, becoming self-sufficient, surviving, even in joy? In other words, when you pick up the stick from the pile with his name on it, what is the vibration that you usually discover?
Most of the time it is the latter, and he has survived for the 2 years. I feel that, I have very much focused on him as being strong, and he has become stronger over the 2 years. So he has, I had this vision of us both being more whole, and I think that is being realized to a degree.
And so would you say that when you talk about him or when you think about him, that the thought of him is cork floating or cork sinking? In other words, when a vision of him comes across your mind, is it uplifting or defeating?
I'm making a conscious, continual effort for it to be uplifting.
The reason
I
that
believe it is most of the time.
The reason that we put the question in the careful wording that we are offering here is because we can feel within you a very strong desire to hold him in this place, and we know that you know all the right answers. In other words, we know that feeling good is the answer we're reaching for, and not feeling so good is an indicator of some resistance. But as we feel your vibration around this subject, we can feel that if you pick up the stick with his name on it, that the vibration is more one of worry.
Fear, too.
Worry and fear, and a little bit of blame and a little bit of self-blame or guilt, rather than one of optimism. And so what we are saying to you is you still have more work to do, not because it's your job to keep him from committing suicide. It isn't your job, but because if he is going to be a focal point in your life experience that is so present in your experience. In other words, when you have someone who's focused a great deal on you, it is important that you have them in alignment within you, because when they focus upon you, it activates, even if you don't know, they're not in the room with you, they're not ringing your doorbell, they're not making your phone ring, they're across the world thinking about you. When they think about you, it activates their vibration within you. And so you are constantly reminded of whatever the vibration is that you have decided to achieve, whichever end of the stick you are predominantly vibrating on, becomes activated within you, you see. And so that's why it feels to you like it's been a constant rebalancing act, because he has made you the center of his universe. He's focused upon you a great deal, and he's projecting himself vibrationally into your experience. And so that's why we say relationships are eternal. Even though you are living relatively close geographically, you could be living on the other side of the planet, and still the vibration within you would be being affected as he is thinking about you. It may be likely that he would not think about you so much under those conditions, but distance does not make any difference.
I understand that.
So as you work on this a little bit, you have one goal. And that goal is to find a way of thinking about him and feeling good. Now, the reason we put it to you in those blunt terms is because you could pet your cat and never think about him again, and you'd do just fine. But we don't think you could pet your cat and never think about him again, because he's been too long, too big a part of your experience, and because he's still thinking about you. So what you're wanting to say to the universe is, I'm going to rework this. I'm going to make him, in my mind's eye, someone that he may have never been, but I'm going to make him someone in my mind's eye that causes alignment between me and me, because when I'm in alignment with who I really am, now I've set my own tone, and it does not matter what anybody else is doing or thinking about me. They do not set me off my tone, off my vibration, you see. So this will be easy for you. We can feel it's easy for you to reach for a thought that feels good. What we are saying to you is just manufacture a stronger, more deliberate thought around him relative to his well-being. As you be more specific about it, you'll feel the power of it more. As you say things to yourself, as you envision things like he is getting on with his life and doing just great. And in fact, he has attracted another and is refreshed and renewed in the new relationship. And as you take pleasure in that, sort of milk it. Now we can feel perfect alignment with you in that thought. In other words,
yes. I want that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we can feel that you've practiced it before, but that's a very good imagery for you. Or see yourself bumping into one another on the street, and both of you being genuinely glad to see each other, and no yearning about unfulfilled desires or unsatisfied happenings. things like that. And it will just get softer and softer. We think that what's happening is that he is recognizing that he is finding some stability too, but he is still wanting to ring your bells just a little bit, and there isn't anything that rings somebody's bells as loud as somebody saying, I need you so much that I cannot continue. In other words, he's been pulling on lots of your chains in lots of different ways, and he's sort of down to the last one.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Be easy about it. Have fun with it. That may sound odd under the circumstances, but there is such pleasure to be had in holding someone that you care about as your object of attention and finding them stable. Many people listening in and not understanding the basis of law of attraction or the art of letting it in might say, well, Abraham, shouldn't she be facing reality? And we say, reality only gets you more of what you do not want. In other words, face the parts of your reality that are pleasing you, but fill in the rest with your imagination. And a great deal of powerful influencing can happen there. Yes.